Hello, everybody. So glad that you decided to make time for your yoga practice today. Congratulations. That's awesome. So let's make this quality time that you're spending with yourself. You're going to need a mat today, so you can go ahead and grab that. Maybe grab some water, maybe put on some music. That's always a nice way to kind of enhance the experience. Light a candle. I don't know. Let's make this just really good, precious self care time together. So, we will start seated on our mat. So you can go ahead and find your seat. I like cross legs in front of me. You can stretch the legs out or find any position that works for you. And we're just going to start with the breath. So bringing hands on our lap, maybe a big breath in through the nose. I like to sigh out the mouth. The first couple, maybe even. Not being afraid to make some sounds, letting go of maybe some mental residue from the day we've already had. Maybe we're practicing at the end of the day. And then as we continue to develop the relationship with our breath, let's start to shrug through the shoulders. So it might look like an inhale to squeeze shoulders up to the ears. Exhale to roll them back and down. Let's do that a few more times. And it doesn't matter what it looks like. We just want to really get into the upper back and shoulder area, the neck area even. Woo, that's where I hold a lot of my tension, that's for sure. And I know many of you guys do probably as well. So cool. And then you can, again, staying with the breath the whole time, maybe get the neck involved, drawing some circles with the chin. Maybe inhaling one way, exhaling chin down to center. And continuing like that. Inhaling ear to one shoulder. Just warming up here, just kind of setting the tone. Building that breath, finding that rhythm with the breath. That's going to be like our dance partner. Our breath is our guide. Our breath determines how fast we move, how deep we go in a pose. And from here, let's start to grow this warm up even more by making some circles with the rib cage. So I like to, again, use my hands on my knees. And it's like I can kind of pull my rib cage forward on the inhale. And on the exhale, you can press and round through the lower back. Ooh, it feels so good. And so again, I encourage you to focus more on what you're feeling in your body rather than what this looks like. So you might even close your eyes and really just kind of let yourself feel it out. And it's almost like we're trying to keep the hips still, really rooting through those sit bones and isolate the rib cage. Just letting that be kind of what churns, like if our hips were a pot of soup or something. Awesome. Yeah, really just kind of getting into the whole spine, warming up through the abdominal muscles even here. Your head and neck can do whatever feels good. They can kind of rock still side to side. Shoulders can kind of roll. Staying with those deep breaths. Let's switch the direction of these circles that we're making. So just kind of stirring our pot the other way. We always want to check in. We want to take a moment to ask ourselves, what kind of day am I having? What kind of energy do I have inside of me today? What kind of thoughts, mood, feelings, whatever is going on in our life, just taking a moment to recognize it, to acknowledge it, and to welcome it even. All parts of us are allowed and able to show up here. So wherever we are is a perfect place. And from here, we will find center and bring the soles of the feet together. So we're going to make like a diamond shape with the knees. The closer your heels are towards your hips, the more intense the stretch will be in the hips. And so, yeah, a wide diamond is totally fine too, especially at the beginning. We're still warming up. So from here, again, we might grab the shins or the feet and let that pull on whatever we can grab be what lifts us up through the chest. Shoulder blades can kind of relax down the back here, and we'll just breathe a couple rounds right here. And we might take a moment here to, no matter what's going on in our life, just invite the best version of ourselves to our mat right now. As we move our bodies, we can practice also moving from that place of just giving our best, whatever that looks like today. So let's inhale to keep the feet where they are. Circle sweep the arms up overhead. We can turn up the chin at the top. And then exhale, start to fold forward over your feet. So the palms might come down, the forearms, maybe even the forehead, or I like to, I lost my video. There we go. I like to make a little pillow with my fists and place them on top of my feet. So just pausing for, again, a few deep breaths. And in this fold, you might feel breath differently. You might start to feel it kind of fill and expand the low back. As you take that big breath in, maybe on the exhale, you can sink and soften a little bit more into this fold. Awesome. Enjoying one more round of breath right here. And as we take a final pause in this fold, let's make a commitment to ourselves to just giving our best for the rest of this time together. And then from here, you can inhale, press yourself back up into a seat. And then we're going to cross up the ankles just so we can roll forward into that tabletop shape. So hands and knees, palms under shoulders, knees are under hips. And let's take some cat-cows here. Let's inhale to drop the belly. Shoulders roll away from the ears as we lift the chin. Ooh, big stretch through the whole front side. And then exhale, we'll tuck and round. So chin towards our chest, hips towards our chin. And we'll flow like that a few rounds on our own. Inhale to drop the belly, look up. Exhale to round. Maybe as you inhale and arch the back, you also turn up the corners of your mouth. It's called a smile, in case you didn't notice. Very advanced yoga pose. More advanced than like a headstand even is smiling, even if we might be feeling a lot of sensation in the body here. So from our tabletop, let's find that neutral kind of home base. And we'll inhale, tuck the left toes behind us as we straighten that leg. And so let's take a few rounds of breath to just kind of shift the weight forward and back. Like I can even kind of come on my toes as I inhale forward. And then exhale, rock back and press into the ball of the foot. Ooh, you should feel a nice big stretch along the calf. And we can take a few pulses just like that. Awesome. And then let's inhale, engage the belly muscles to lift that leg. We're going to exhale, tap the toes out to the right, looking over our right shoulder. Big, expansive, deep, slow, steady breaths the whole time. Paying attention to every round to the best of our ability. On our next inhale, we'll lift the left leg. And this time, tap it out to the left. And let's take a little flow back and forth. The inhale, we'll lift the leg. Exhale, tap to the right, gaze to the right. Inhaling center, exhaling other side, gazing to the left. So you can take a few on your own. We're just kind of tapping back and forth, getting into the hips, loosening up the low back. Almost like we're drawing a rainbow shape with that foot. Awesome. Last time to the left, let's inhale center, lifting that leg. And then exhale, touch the toes down. From here, inhaling right arm to the sky. So we're in a twist. I'm going to circle my arm around up there, or my wrist. We can kind of wiggle through the fingers. Oh, it feels so good, stretching our chest up towards the sky. And as we pause here in this twist, you might call to mind, like, what comes to mind when you think of the best version of you? You in your full potential, you in kind of your peak state. What does that image look like? What comes to mind? What kinds of qualities? One more big breath in here, spinning the chest open maybe a little bit more. And on our exhale, we're going to take that lifted arm and thread it all the way underneath the left. So I'm going to come down even onto that arm, onto my right shoulder, side of the face comes down even. Big shoulder opener here. Also a bit of a balance challenge in case you didn't notice that part. So engaging the core, squeezing those belly muscles. Using the strength of our left arm for support. Breathing deep. Let's finish one more round of breath, completing your exhale. Next breath in, we'll press into that left palm to once again unthread, stretch that right arm all the way up to the sky. And then exhale, release it. So both palms come down. On our inhale, we're going to spin onto the back heel so that back foot comes flat. Weight comes into our right palm as we inhale, left arm to the sky now. So we're opening up to the other side of the room. We can do the same thing here. We can circle through the wrist or maybe even take some big giant circles through that whole arm. Just realized I'm going to be facing backwards for this first round, but that's okay. So let's pause in that side opening. And then our next breath in, we're going to rise up. So you can think about pressing into the outer edge of your left foot, almost as if you could stand on it. And that left arm can kind of carry us up to the side. So arms spin wide. I like to spin my back foot out a little bit just so I have a bit of a wider base. It's almost like a little kickstand. Yeah, so our chest is opening, fingertips extending long in each direction. And let's turn and look to the front of our mat. So gazing over our right fingertips. From here, let's lift up and back, reaching left fingertips down our left leg as our right arm comes up and overhead. Big breaths through the whole right side of the body. Finish and exhale, maybe sink a little deeper into this twist. And then inhale takes us all the way back up, arms wide. Exhale to cartwheel the hands down, spinning back on those back toes. And go ahead and release that left knee. Might feel good to take a little shimmy between sides, maybe swinging the hips. Or enjoying some of those cat cows. Awesome. And we get another chance. We get to do the whole thing again on the other side. So reconnecting to that breath if you've lost it. Reconnecting to that image of you, shining your best self forward. And let's move from there. Let's start to tuck the right toes now behind us. And we'll just start real simply with that calf opener. So pressing through the palms, stretching through the back of the leg. Inhale, shifting weight forward, maybe even coming onto the top of the foot as we do so. Exhale, pressing back. Inhale, shifting forward. Just a few like that, just kind of sweet talking the back of the leg open, taking our time. But let's inhale, lift that leg, engaging the belly muscle. So drawing that belly button in and up towards our spine. And then as we exhale, stepping out to the left this time, gazing over our left shoulder. Pausing here this first round. One more big inhale, stretching through the right side. Finish the exhale. Breath in to lift that leg. And then we'll exhale, tap it to the right. So let's start to take that rainbow flow on our own. Inhale, lifting the leg. Exhale, tapping left. Inhale up, exhale right. Ooh, I just got a nice hip pop. So maybe you get one of those nice natural adjustments as well. Who needs a chiropractor, right? We can just swing our leg behind us back and forth, getting into the hips and low back. Amazing. Next breath in, let's lift through center, hold it there. And then exhale, release those toes down. We'll inhale, left arm to the sky this time for that twist. So circling through the wrist. I even like to wrap that arm around my low back sometimes. That feels really nice to spin the heart open a little bit more. So when you think of yourself as your best, what qualities do you see? Is it someone who's more confident? Maybe somebody who's more generous or giving or peaceful, healthier, more vibrant, more energetic. One more big breath in here. Exhale, release that left palm down. And we'll start to open to the other side. So spinning onto the edge of that right foot as we open to the left, right arm up overhead. Again, we can always circle through the chin, stretching through our neck. Maybe experiment with circling through the wrist, or maybe taking those big circles with the whole arm. Awesome. From here, pressing into the outer edge of that right foot as we lift, rise, come all the way up. Again, that back foot might spin behind us like a little kickstand as we open the arms wide. Gazing off those left fingertips, still drawing in the belly, still riding the waves of that breath. Then let's inhale, tip it up and back. So that front palm facing the sky as we reach right arm down our leg, or it might again wrap around the low back. The good news, y'all, is that whatever images come to mind, whatever kind of presented itself when you thought of you at your best, those things are already a part of you, or you wouldn't even be able to think of them. If you couldn't cultivate that image or those words or those qualities, or the fact that you can means that you have them in you. It is possible for you. It's already in there. So it's just a matter of learning how to let them shine out. It's a practice, and yoga is a really great opportunity to do that. So super glad that we're here. Let's inhale back up. And then exhale like a cartwheel kind of. Both hands come down as we spin on the back toes. One more time. Inhaling left arm to the sky. And then exhale to thread that arm underneath. So coming down onto our left shoulder, left side of the face, pressing into this palm and using the strength of our arm for support. Again, it's like a little kickstand. And we can just kind of rest here to the best of our ability. I should have maybe mentioned this before, but if you happen to fall over, no worries. Very easy to fall to the side in this pose. In fact, I just did this in class this week. I totally fell over. I knocked over my water bottle. I made a big commotion. It was quite funny. And, at least we're not too far away from the floor. So that's good. All right, lovely. Let's start to inhale, press into that right palm to lift left arm to the sky once more. And then exhale, release the palm, release the knee, take a little shake. Oh, might feel good. Let's all sink back into a child's pose. So knees come wide, big toes kiss, sitting back on the heels as we mount forward. Just taking a moment again to check in. To find our breath and maybe to notice if anything has shifted from the first time we checked in at the beginning of our practice today. What kind of energy or feelings or thoughts we were having. And maybe there's been already a small shift. Let's use a breath in to rise up back to hands and knees. We got one more little flow to get through together, you guys. So coming back to that intention we set at the beginning, right? To just do our best and let the best in us shine this entire practice. So maybe we call to mind one of those qualities that we're working on cultivating. And letting that be our guide, letting that kind of be our North Star and what we focus on as we take these movements with our body. So let's start by tucking the toes behind us. And we're gonna come into our down dog, that big full body stretch. So making like an upside down V with our body. And we can start to bend one knee at a time. It's called walking the dog, kind of pressing one heel to the floor and then the other. Awesome. May feel really nice to shake the head a little, yes and no. And this is an active pose. So if we are new to yoga, it can be really intense. Maybe you bring the knees down for a moment as we work to build these muscles we're not used to using, and then come right back into it. Totally welcome to take breaks as needed. But if we're feeling ready, we can start to inhale, lift our left leg up to the sky. Doesn't matter how high it goes. And then as we exhale, working to step that left foot between the hands. So we might need to drop the knee in order to do that. Or maybe we can step it all the way through. From here, keeping that back knee lifted, maybe coming onto the right fingertips this time as we inhale into the twist. Been here before in a similar shape, a little bit different. This time our back knee is up, so it's a little more intense. Find that big breath. We can still circle through the wrist. We can still make big circles with that whole arm. Definitely feeling the legs working. One more big breath in here. And then exhale, release, palms down. So hands are framing that front foot. We're going to spin the back heel down just like we did in the beginning. And then we're going to take our right arm and swim it up and back so that we can rise all the way to standing in a warrior two. So my arms are long, extending out from my shoulders. And it's like we're working to spread the mat apart with our feet. We're sinking so strong in those legs, feet pressing into the earth. And at the same time, it's almost like we're trying to stretch the front and back of our mat apart. Find the breath, gazing off those left fingertips, looking forward. Then are you ready for something fun? we're going to inhale, straighten the arms up to the sky, overhead as we turn those left toes in. So both toes now are facing forward. And then from here, we're going to move to warrior two, facing the other way. So that left foot can stay how it is. And we're just going to turn the right toes to the other edge of the mat, bending through that front knee or that right knee. Warrior one, gazing over the right fingertips this time. So we should be facing the opposite end of our mat, like the back of our mat. One more inhale. Exhaling, sinking maybe a little bit deeper in that lunge. And then inhale, same thing, arms up overhead, those right toes shift forward. Then as we exhale, we're gonna fold forward. So diving in between those straight legs, I'm gonna wiggle walk my feet out a little wider. And let's just hang out in this wide-legged forward fold. So palms can be down, we can be on the fingertips. Might even bend a little into each knee, kind of shifting weight side to side. Maybe we can even bend into the elbows, press into the palms, bringing the crown of our head towards the earth. Inhale to peek up with a flat back. And then exhale, we're going to turn the left toes forward once again, spinning on the back toes. So we can crawl our hands around that left foot. And then if you'd like to take a little vinyasa, here's what we can do. And this is something you can always skip. So we're gonna press into the palms, step that left foot back, so we're in a plank pose. And knees can be down. So I'm gonna put my knees down just as an example, but you can certainly keep them lifted. Drawing belly in and up. Inhale to lift through the chest, engage the belly, and then exhale, elbows hug the rib cage as we lower down. Inhale, pressing into the palms, pressing into the tops of our feet, pulling our chest forward to rise up, shoulders relaxed down, cobra pose. And then exhale, shifting back, child's pose or downward facing dog. So whatever you choose, child's pose and down dog are both resting poses, believe it or not. I know down dog doesn't usually feel like a rest in the beginning. But find a place where you can reconnect to the breath. We just got one more side before we take it back down. Maybe again, pedaling through the knees. And then we'll inhale our right leg to the sky. Maybe back knee comes down. Maybe we even use our hand if needed to step that foot between the hands. No big deal. And then if we can lift the back knee, we do. And you can always leave it down. Yoga is so awesome because you can take or leave anything that I'm suggesting. So if we're choosing to lift that knee, let's go ahead and do it. And let's also lift that right arm to the sky. So finding a more active version of this twist. But I always love to move that lifted arm. I just find it helps me kind of get some places in my back that feel good, and my neck. Maybe again, wrapping that arm around. Really still pressing through that back heel, strong back leg. And then we can inhale that arm up if it's lowered or wrapped, spinning onto the back heel as we come all the way up to our warrior two. So again, spreading hips wide, like we're stretching our arms like a T out to the side, gazing over those right fingertips. And as we take some breaths in our warrior two, we might start to think about, why aren't we, if we're not already, living as the best version of ourselves every single day? What is stopping us from doing that? What's holding us back? Big breath in. Let's straighten the arms as we turn those right toes to the side, the long side of the mat. And then exhale, we'll switch directions. So spinning left toes to the back of the mat now, bending into that left thigh. Warrior two facing the opposite direction. Maybe we feel like we cannot shine our best every day because we are exhausted. Maybe we're burning ourselves out, spreading ourselves too thin, filling our calendar too full, and not allowing for enough rest, right? We've got to take care of ourselves to keep that light bright and to have that energy to give to other people. So if that resonates with anybody, maybe we think of one way this week that we can give ourselves some extra space and time and rest. Let's inhale, arms to the sky as we again turn the toes to face the long edge of the mat. Exhale, folding forward.
So I get to look at you upside down now. So fun. And we can do the same thing we did with our arms before, or maybe we try a new variation. Maybe we grab the ankles. Maybe we sway a little, or even walk the fingertips back. Maybe what's getting in our way is our own mind. Maybe we have some gremlins, as I call them, or sort of negative thought patterns that hold us back, and they're just in our own imagination. Usually something like, oh, I'm not good enough to do that, or if only my body could do this, or doubting our abilities, feeling like it's not possible for us, all the things that we want, maybe a lack of confidence. What are your gremlins? Maybe I don't have anything to shine and offer. Like maybe it's hard to come up with some of those best qualities that we have. Beautiful. And then let's lift up halfway. And then exhale, start to walk it back around to the front of our mat. Last opportunity for that little vinyasa today, if we want to take it. So stepping that right foot back. And please remember, you're not a lesser person or even a lesser yogi. If you skip this, no big deal, or bring the knees down, totally cool. We can take a breath in our plank, knees lifted or lowered. As we exhale, elbows skim the rib cage. Inhale, pulling chest up and through. Untuck the toes behind us. And then exhale into our child's pose. Pausing here, you did it. Amazing work. So reconnecting to that breath if you've lost it or if it's become a little more shallow from working so hard. In our child's pose, we can start to walk the hands over toward the left, almost as if you could pick up your chest and belly and lay it over your left thigh. Let's take it to the other side. Inhaling through center, we'll kind of walk the palms over to the right. then passing back through center once more, just so that we can start to walk ourselves up. And scooch it forward so we're kind of sitting in the center of our mat. Just so that we can bring feet out in front of us and come to lying on our back. That was really just a fancy way to come to lying down. So however you want to get there, really. And then when we do, let's squeeze our knees into our chest, making ourselves a little ball. And I even like to roll around on my spine a little bit. So taking the knees one direction, then the other. It's like a little massage. Awesome. So let's take feet to the floor. So feet are flat on the floor, under the knees, maybe a few inches in front of the hips. Palms facing down, arms straight down by your side. Let's take a bridge pose. So pressing into the feet, we're going to start to lift the tailbone, lift the hips, lower back, maybe even the middle back, up off the floor. So find those big deep breaths. How about one more? Maybe lifting the hips a little bit more on the inhale. And then as we exhale, we're going to lower down from top to bottom. So upper back, slowly, almost like each vertebrae of the spine can lower down one at a time. Beautiful. Hips come last. And then once your hips plant down, let's squeeze the knees in once again. And then just for a moment or two, let's straighten the legs up to the sky. So I like to hold on to the back of my thighs for a little more support. We can wiggle the fingers, circle through the ankles. And so if you recognize within yourself a gremlin or some sort of negative thought or negative belief that you have about yourself, what we can do is start to notice when that gremlin is talking to us, right? We can start to pay attention when that voice comes out. That's step one, is just noticing, okay, that's my gremlin talking. That is not necessarily true. One more big breath in. I feel my legs shaking. And then as we exhale, let's squeeze the knees into our chest, open arms wide to the side, and simply let our stacked knees fall to the left as we turn our head to the right. And then once we get good and skilled at noticing that gremlin, we can then start to change it. Like when we catch that negative thought, we can replace it with a positive one. We can choose to let that one go and choose a higher one, a more helpful thought, which takes time and effort and practice, but it does get easier the more we do this. Inhale to bring knees up through center. Just to switch sides, we can exhale, knees to the right this time, turning our head to the left. Just letting our bodies be heavy. Letting gravity kind of take over. Our bodies can kind of sink and melt into the floor. And then once once more, knees come up through center. Let's wrap our arms around our knees. Give ourselves a big giant hug. Thank yourself for making it. You made it till the end. Didn't run away or turn it off. And then let's just extend out, arms and legs long, lying flat on the floor. Or when my low back is bothering me, I like to keep my knees bent and even kind of knock them together so they're resting on each other. So any position that's comfortable, just to absorb a few moments of designated rest time. So this might be the only time you get. So let's cherish it. Let's take a big breath in. I hope it's not, though. I hope you get more opportunities. All the way in through the nose. And then sigh out the mouth. Slowly deepening the breath. Bringing your attention back to this moment. The day that you're in, the room that you're in, the body that you're in. We can add some gentle movements, just anything that feels good to reawaken. I always like a big giant stretch with my arms up overhead. Oh, fingertips all the way to the toes getting long. Maybe we pause on your favorite side. Then you can take your time just to make your way to a seat. Just like when we started. So a final moment together. We can bring our hands to our hearts and close our eyes. Just a moment of gratitude for this time and this gift that you gave yourself, taking this time. And let's continue together to watch our thoughts today. Let's start to notice what thoughts are supportive of the life we want to have and who we want to be, and what thoughts are not, and start to gradually work to change them. That's where the really powerful shifts start to happen. So glad I got to be with you today. Thank you so much, everybody. And I will hopefully see you very soon.